Let's discuss this further with Brigadier General Jaroslaw Strozyk. He's an adjunct professor at the University of Wrocław, and he previously served as the Director of Analysis at the Polish Military Intelligence Service and is also a former Deputy Intelligence Director at NATO. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program today, sir. Now, some think that Putin's speech indicates that this operation is going to continue until he takes control of the Donbass region and makes gains in other parts of the country. And others think the opposite of that, that there was a sense of defeat in his speech, even though he praised his army and reiterated a lot of what's been said since the war started. What do you think?
Hello. I think that this speech was quite pessimistic for Russia, and in terms of his previous speeches was quite modest, and that indicates that he is ready to negotiate any further peaceful steps or peaceful agreements with the West and, of course, with Ukraine. And he knows how many soldiers he lost. He knows how many pieces of equipment he got lost. So that was really minimal speech when you look into his previous speeches or words.
If he is indeed willing to negotiate at this stage of the conflict, what do you think those negotiations would look like on Russia's part?
It won't be easy. He will not resign of any gains, territorial gains he got so far. So no questions about that. But on the other hand, I don't believe this region or eastern part of Ukraine will be stabilized in the near future. I mean, in the near years. That should resemble the situation in the Balkans when we have some stalemates or some unpeaceful areas in Bosnia and Herzegovina for last 30 years. So as I thought, I sounded optimistic about the peaceful agreements, but I am very pessimistic about those areas being well stabilized.
During his speech, Putin also cited NATO's expansion around its borders as an absolutely unacceptable threat and the reason for invading, or rather going into Ukraine. But we're seeing that expansion happen despite this military operation.
He said the same words in 2007 in Munich in February famous conference, so nothing new. On the other hand, NATO didn't expand to the east since 2004. So he should be, let's say, calm about those statements. But on the other hand, let's be honest, NATO is not willing to invade whatever in brackets Russia. NATO is opening its doors to sovereign states, independent states, and willing to join this defensive alliance.
And looking at Russia's military capabilities and the weaponry they have, it was thought that Russia would have been more successful in making gains during this operation before they got this far into the conflict. What do you think Putin miscalculated, or do you think this is some sort of tactic he may be using?
I strongly believe that he miscalculated on many levels, and he saw his armed forces on those parades during the exercises when he always won. And I would say like that, the more beautiful parades you have, the weaker armed forces you got. So that's old military true. And if you lie yourself about exercises, if you lie yourself about your military capabilities, the result is in Ukraine quite clear and perfect for the analysts. His equipment, he claimed, was quite new, modernized, but on the battlefield, it proved to be not successful and really not enough for any offensive he wanted to gain in Ukraine.
All right, General Jaroslaw Strozyk, it was a pleasure having you here on Tier 2 World. Thank you for that
Thank you.
insight.